Hi there! Today I'm going to show you how to make apple crackers made from apple powder, and you can also use apple flour. Either one will work for this recipe. Now these crackers are special. They're obviously gluten-free. I don't add any other types of flours, so you'll find no wheat flours, no rice flours, no potato flours, almond flours, nut flours, nothing. The only thing I'm using as the flour base is the apple powder. Now today I'm going to use this apple powder by Frontier. It comes in this silver bag and I got it off of Amazon. But you can also use apple flour, and there's a few brands out there that you can find on Amazon as well. Without further ado, let's get making some apple flour crackers. I'm going to start by adding 3/4 cup of apple powder or apple flour. Then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of brown coconut sugar. Now you're welcome to use any kind of cane sugar. This is just a nice alternative to cane sugars in my opinion. It tastes a lot like brown sugar. It's a 1-to-1 replacement for brown sugar and has a low glycemic level and is unrefined. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a great alternative to flavorings than just the cinnamon is an apple pie spice or a pumpkin pie spice. Both of those spices contain a wonderful blend of like nutmeg, cloves, allspice, all those delicious spices that complement apple pie so well. But I didn't have any on hand, so I'm just using cinnamon today. Next I'm going to add a tablespoon of vanilla powder. I really love vanilla powder. It helps give kind of a sweetness to it that's delicious. Next, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, if you're a vegan, these crackers can be made vegan friendly very easily. You just use this Earth Balance, and it is a wonderful butter substitute that is very equivalent to regular butter. Now, I'm just going to toss this with my hands all together. I found that it just works better tossing with hands than it does with a spoon. Once the butter is incorporated, such as this, next I'm going to add some flavorings, but first I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of raw honey, and if you watch my channel often, you'll know I'm a big advocate for raw honey. 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. Next I'm doing 1/2 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Oops, it's a little over, but that's okay. Next, 1/4 cup of water. And we're going to go back to mixing this all together with our hands, and we're going to form a nice little dough ball. Now you'll find with these crackers is it seems like they're going to be really sweet, but surprisingly they're not that sweet. In fact, if you've got a sweet tooth, I suggest you can add some more coconut sugar, or even when we get this rolled out, you can add some cinnamon and sugar sprinkled on top. Now I am a sugar minimalist, and so I tried making these with minimal amount of sugar possible, and I found that they were edible, but they didn't really become good until I added up to the 1/4 cup of the coconut sugar and the 2 tablespoons of honey. And you just might have a different taste bud than I do, and you want them sweeter, or maybe you're okay with them being less sweet. You can certainly play with the flavors a bit. There are no rules in cooking. And now we got our dough ball. It's not super sticky, but it is kind of a wet dough. Alright, so get your wax paper out or your parchment paper, and we're going to roll this out. Place your dough ball on the wax paper. So we're going to use a second sheet of wax paper for the top. Bottom sheet, shiny side up. Top sheet, shiny side down. Alright, get your rolling pin out, and you're going to start rolling it out. At first you're just going to want to press it down a little bit. If you just go too hard and fast, you'll break the dough apart. I think it works better when you roll in one direction, so you can go back and forth, just not like this, but strokes. Up, down, and the center is going to want to build up, so be sure that you get that center worked out to the edges. If you're kind of wondering what these taste like, in my opinion, they're kind of like a graham cracker. You know how a graham cracker isn't necessarily savory, but it's not super sweet either. It's kind of a neutral. But these do not have an overwhelming apple flavor, which may really surprise you. It's appley, but it's not overpowering. You want to roll this out pretty thin, kind of like pie crust. Okay, so you're going to remove the top sheet and do so very carefully. You want to pull low and straight back. Now it's time for a third piece of fresh wax paper. You're going to take butter and you're going to streak the butter across the shiny side up of the wax paper. If you're a vegan, just use your vegan butter. Place the buttered wax paper on top of the dough. Smooth it out lightly with your hands, but do not press it into the dough. Otherwise, you could cause a sticking issue later on. Then very quickly and swiftly, you're going to flip this over. And you're going to remove the non-buttered one that is now on top. Again, very gentle and easy. A little tearing's just going to happen. Do the best you can. This is actually kind of a really big tear. But that's okay. Our crackers are still going to be really good. You're going to take a pizza cutter to cut it up. Now since I have this big tear in the center, I'm just going to go ahead and cut right through there. And the slices don't have to be even. This is a very rustic looking cracker. Then slide it right on to your cookie sheet. Place it in your 400-degree oven for 15 minutes. The purpose of the buttered wax paper is to prevent the cracker and paper from baking into each other. This is an example of what happens when only plain pieces of wax or parchment paper are used without any buttering. So be sure to use your butter because it's going to prevent this. It's been 15 minutes and I'm pulling the crackers out. Now they will bake unevenly because the edges are thinner than the center, but I'll show you what to do from here. Using a spatula, lift the crackers up from the wax paper. And just a note, see how nicely the crackers come up? That's thanks to the buttering. I'm going to use a fork to lift these center ones since the spatula is kind of too big to get in there. Take the well done edge pieces and place them aside on a plate. Then take the pieces that are well done on the edge but need a few extra minutes to finish on the inner part. Line the edges up like what I'm doing here and use a pizza cutter to cut off the well done edges. The edges go on the plate. Do the same for the other side. The crackers will harden very quickly as they cool. So when they come out of the oven they may feel spongy, but it really just takes a few minutes and they turn into a crispy cracker once they cool. I'm noticing how some of these have already transformed from spongy into crispy during just this minute of cooling when I just took them out of the oven. Kind of feel the crackers out and move the ones that feel done to the plate and leave the ones that could use a little more time on the wax paper. Now these crackers are very oven heat sensitive. 1 minute too long or too short can really make a difference. Based on how these remaining pieces feel, decide on whether to put them back in for 3 minutes or 4. I found 5 minutes to typically be too much time. I'm putting these back in for 3. Bada bing, 3 minutes have passed. These outer ones are ready for the plate and I still think these center pieces could use 1 more minute to make them just right. Here they are after just a minute more of bake time. Okay, that's the last of them. And that extra minute I can see just darkened it enough. Now it's still spongy just coming out of the oven, but give this a few minutes to cool and it's going to turn into a nice crisp cracker. And while that's cooling for just a moment, I kind of made this little pile here, and these are the darker ones versus these lighter ones. Now you might think it's burned, but I don't think it's burned just based on the taste. I think it darkens quickly because the dough itself is so dark already. But when I eat these, I think they're really good. So this darkness doesn't bother me one bit. All right, I let them sit for 10 minutes to cool completely, and I just want to show you the contrast in crispiness by allowing them to cool and rest. So here's one of the crackers that needed just that last minute, and now watch this, their crispiness. That's a lovely crispy cracker. And good too. Happy cracker making, and leave me a comment below on what you flavored your apple flour crackers with. I've got a lot more clean food living recipes, so check out this playlist right here and you can see them all. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos, then ding the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. I'll see you next time. Bye.